How to document research. Documenting research is extremely important so that you can prove things in the future. Whenever you're documenting research, you want to have a written record that you can use so that you can demonstrate to others that you actually did something. There may come, and I say there may come a time when somebody wants you to prove what you did. Unless you've got the proper documentation, you will have no proof. So this is how you document research if you want to have legal standing so that you can prove you actually did something. Let's look at the lab notebook. These are what you do with the lab notebook. Number one, hardbound. This is a lab notebook that I've got that I used for quite a bit of research. This actually is a single topic type lab notebook. It's probably got 100 or so pages in it, plus what I've added to it, but it's got all the material from one research topic. You number the pages in it so that you know it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do this ahead of time, and by doing that, you won't have any problems trying to prove anything. You date and sign each page as you go along. As you complete each page, or as you complete each day, you date and sign that page. Now, does that mean you write a paragraph and you have to violate the entire page? No, you can write a paragraph and you can stop at the end of the day, and then you come back next day and you continue on from there. If you're a couple of lines from ending it, close the page and then you can start again. If a page is left blank, date and sign it. This always occurs, as you're going through and you're doing things, you turn what you thought to be one page and it was actually two, and you start writing and you continue on from there, and then all of a sudden when you're going back through it, you find that a page was left blank. Write on it, page unintentionally left blank, and date and sign when you did that. Corrections. If you have something that is wrong, you correct it by drawing a single line through it so it is still readable, and then you date and sign the correction. So you draw a single line through it, you come back and you date and sign the correction. Additions. If you're going to add something to it, glue it onto the page if you can't. If you can't glue it onto the page, glue in the page. Label the page. Put the date on it so that you know what you've got. All of this is absolutely permissible, and it's the way to actually do a good lab notebook. Don't remove anything. You put something in, later on you're going, I don't know if I need it, leave it. You can go back and you can write on it at a different time. Found this not to be relevant, didn't use, something like that. But you leave it in there. Detail. The more detail you have, the better you are. Occasionally, if something absolutely historical happened on a particular day outside, write in your lab notebook, man, yesterday, this and this happened. Because what that does is that actually fixes that in time, and it must be handwritten. The reason you handwrite things is because if it's not handwritten, somebody can always say, well, you just printed it up right now. So you're going to do handwritten on it. This is one of my lab notebooks. This is that lab notebook that I was using. A couple of things you can see. I got the date on the page. Right at the top of the page, it's got the date. You can see it's handwritten. I have got page number. I have got the results in here. I have got materials and methods in here. I've got the date the page was closed down at the bottom of the page. Lower right-hand corner, date and mark of closure. So that's the date I closed it, and that is my initials showing that I did that on that particular day. And this says it's 29 June 06. Why do I write it like that? Because depending on where you're at in the world, they actually write the day before the month. If I'm going to do that, I put the day in regular numbers, I put the month in a month type format, and then I put the year. This is another one. You can see on the left-hand page, I've got something that I pulled out. I thought it was important enough to take the entire article and put the entire article in there. On the other part of it, I've got specimens that I collected. These become dried down and they got stuck in there. These are switchgrass leaves with spots collected from plants that came in on July 8th. Then I've got other things on that page. Here are photographs that were attached. It says what they are, and down on the bottom you've got a date. Didn't mean I took the photograph on that day, but that's the day I got the photographs back to be able to put these in. On this page, on the left-hand side, it says I did this particular thing. I stopped in the middle of it, close it off down at the bottom. On page 8, I had this. Material came in. What did I do? I took the label off of the material that came in and I placed it in there so that I've got a permanent record of a particular thing that happened on a particular day. And this has got more tracking numbers on it than anything else, and which means this is verifiable. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure things out. I rough out estimates. I figure out how to make something happen. And all of this goes in the lab notebook. If I figure out that I can change a design, well, I've got record when that particular thing happened. I know what happened on that particular day. Another page, you can see on this one, it went down about halfway down the page. I closed off that particular page. The next page, and I probably did this because it's coming right up on the 4th of July weekend, which means that I may have an interval in there where I don't have many things going on. On the next page, I attach an invoice for material that was purchased. And the way I did this was I just glued it on the page that it came with. Lab notebook. Don't even think it. These are things that you should not do no matter what. If you start thinking, well, I wonder if no, the answer is no. Don't do it. Whiteout. If you own Whiteout, don't use it. Don't bring it to school. Don't have it anywhere. You don't need Whiteout. If Whiteout shows up in your lab notebook, you have violated any trust you have in ever saying that this is a valid lab notebook. You don't use Whiteout on official documents. Nowadays, it is just as easy to reprint something out as it is to go out and use Whiteout on it. You have Whiteout on it, people are going to go, well, you could have gone back and you could have fudged that at any time you wanted, and therefore never. Erasure. You never erase anything. You've got something to correct, single line through it, initial it, right on. Loose leaf. The whole concept here is not to be able to add or take away pages. If you add pages, you can add to it by putting in things like invoices and results and stuff like that. Tabular material. I mean, don't think that I went out there and hand wrote in all of my material as far as data gathered. No, I put a lot of that down in a spreadsheet, but then I went back out there and I processed it properly. I added it and it's permanently stuck in there. No loose leaf. Your lab notebook should not be computer-based because computer-based can be fudged at any time. Or worse, you could lose it. Should not be disorganized. People should be able to go through it and see exactly what you did. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to flow. I mean, believe me. If I'm doing an experiment in the field on one day and I'm doing a greenhouse experiment the next, and then I go back out to the field and then I go back to the greenhouse, it may be all over the place, but at least I know in there, one day says greenhouse, the other one says field, the other one goes back to greenhouse, the other one goes back to field, and then I can tell what I've got. Do not have your favorite pen and only use that pen in it. Vary the pen you use. If you only use one particular type of pen and somebody really gets down there and they really get nasty and they want to try and figure out whether or not you might have written this all at the same time. One of the things they look at is things like pen. If you've got varied types of pen throughout and they don't always look the same and varies here and there, people will look at it and think that it's actually much better than if you've got the same pen throughout. On mine, if you go back and you look at it, on this particular sheet, I've got blue pen, I've got black pen, I've got markings in different places and everything, and therefore it becomes very easy to see that this actually looks like it was put together at different times. You can see that there's a drawing in there, and the drawing is kind of in pencil. That's common the way you draw things, but as it's drawn, it's got different readings in there and different things in there that you would not necessarily put in if you were putting something down afterwards. It looks like it was done at that particular time. And then it says pencil. Don't use pencil throughout. It's one thing to go in there and put a drawing in at a spot. You're trying to add something that putting the entire thing in pencil is absolutely ludicrous because it can be lost at any particular time. So therefore, we don't use pencil. It is a permanent record, and you want it to be a permanent type record. It can be a legal document if needed and if properly created. If you ever get called in about your research, did you actually do this? Did you actually have a problem there? This can serve as a legal document if it is properly created, because somebody can go out and analyze it and figure out that you did things on different days in there. They can look at it and they can see, yes, this is there, and they will not see things that indicate that you put the thing together totally on the same day. Question I always ask, will the information that I have stand up in a court of law? Why would I even worry about that? Well, that notebook that I had got a U.S. patent awarded for it. If somebody decides to come down and challenge anything I did, I've got to have a written record of what I did, when I did it, how I did it, and all of that. So therefore, I may be called into a court of law with that particular book, and I may have to document and prove things. And the way that book is set up, it is set up to stand up in a court of law so that I've got all the evidence that I did this, when I did it, how I did it. Very important in there. Here's another question. 3 years from now, can I repeat what I did based on my lab notebook? I started doing research in 1978. I have got lab notebooks from 1978. I can go back into those lab notebooks today, which is a long time. We're going up on 40 years on this. I can go back into my lab notebooks today and look at an experiment and tell you exactly what I did and how I did it and what my thought process was in doing it, because I've got a well-designed lab notebook because I had somebody who taught me how to do it. And that's what this is about. Next question, can I prove to my committee what I did? One of the biggest problems you have is you could have somebody on your committee who turns out to be a real jerk. And then, well, can you prove that you actually did that? And if you've got a properly done lab notebook, yes, you can. And if you can do that, you can actually shut that person up. But guess what? If you can't prove you did it, because all you got are a few numbers here and there, the committee might make you redo it. When you look at it, that from a legal standpoint becomes very important, because you got to be able to document what you did so that you can show other people what you did. Permanent record. Can it stand up? Can I repeat what I did? That's why the lab notebook is important.